Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Doctor and the Dork. This is Frank here with Olivia, and we're here to bring you another, I would say, rousing episode of our the most bland podcast on the face of the earth.
That's no way to talk about something you invest yourself in.
But let's face it, we are hardly the comedians of the century, but I have to say I think we're some pretty generally interesting people. But I could be totally off base, and we could be the most boring people on the face of the planet. But I guess it's up to you to decide.
Write in to drandork@gmail.com and let us know.
Yeah, I would love all of the criticisms, honestly. Today we're just going to cover a couple of the things that we've been running into. We had quite an experience today, and I have to say we don't have too much to talk about from our previous week here. But today, in and of itself, has been a fairly spectacular day, I must say.
Yeah, so let me set the scene. Let me paint the picture. So we had just gotten ourselves a nice little ice cream from Center Scoop. And we've walked over across the street to the park. We found ourselves a nice shady bench to sit on. I've just finished my delicious cookies and cream cone. Frankie is drinking his extra thick milkshake.
Emphasis on thick, all right?
And everything's going okay when a man walks past us. You know, he pauses and he looks, and we don't really know what he's going to say. And then he says, "You guys are so cute. Are you dating?"
Yeah, so just to further set the scene, we're kind of sitting back and watching a Black Lives Matter protest, and we were just discussing how people are these days and how it would be nice if everybody just got along, right? And this gentleman comes along and comments how we looked like quite the cute couple, and then asked if we were boyfriend, girlfriend, and dating and whatnot. To which we replied yes, and he proceeded to jump into I don't know if it was a planned speech, because it did seem like he had this kind of loaded and ready to go.
A deep life discussion, yeah, because at certain points he would stop, and you could tell he had in mind where his next segment was going to take him, but he had just gone too far down his own rabbit hole that he couldn't get there.
So this gentleman had definitely been drinking, had his fine brown paper bag in his cargo pocket and several of those fine Captain Morgan nips that you see at checkout at the liquor store, because as if one of those hasn't slipped into your hand every once in a while, because let's face it, for 99 cents it's a pretty good deal.
It is a pretty good deal.
So this gentleman's out living his best life, having a good day in the park, and I have to say it was some beautiful weather. We're in the shade, and he comments on this, on how we looked like a cute couple, and then he started giving us some worldly advice, I would call it, or at least he had attempted to start to, and as Olivia said, he kind of went down a rabbit hole pretty quick. The only problem being is his rabbit holes led into other rabbit holes, to which I think we can agree we both quickly lost what he was talking about, as he was using a lot of innuendos for everything.
Yeah, guys, I wish we could tell you, some of the deep life advice he gave us, because I think, each segment really started on, wow, we could get pretty deep here, but, before we even reached halfway in, I was like, well, I'm going to keep listening to you, but I'm so lost.
I have to say the general takeaway was you should cherish yourself above all.
Oh yeah, let's talk about each of our takeaways.
You should respect yourself. And the second follow-up was you should definitely take care of your family. If you're not close to your family, you should be close to your family, I mean, everyone's situation is slightly different. But the general idea was be good to those around you, treat yourself right, and, be nice to your significant other, which I thought was some generally good advice, to which then he started talking about a TV situation.
Yes, well, let me break down the TV situation. So he looked at me, and he said something about me leaving Frankie. And then he said, but just remember, if she leaves and she goes to somebody else, he's like, just imagine the tube. And then he clarifies, this is one point where he did clarify so that we didn't get lost too early, that the tube was the TV. That's also what my aunt calls the TV, is the tube. And that the tube, once you let your friend borrow it and your brother borrow it and your dad borrow it, the tube never comes back the same. And I'm pretty sure the tube represented your girlfriend leaving you sleeping around with all these other people and then coming back.
Yeah, it was really left open for some interpretation. So, needless to say, it was quite an interesting encounter. He was a very nice gentleman, I have to say.
Yeah,
I bet he is
a
nice. Pleasure to talk to when he is sober.
Now, my next question for you is, he talked about this love of his life that he had for 4 years.
Oh, yes, his high school love affair that he apparently, I couldn't quite tell if he had never acted upon it or if he had acted upon it and had kids with her.
Me neither, but the girlfriend that he's with now, he's been with since he was 16.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's the one and the same person.
I don't know.
He had a lot. He sounded very conflicted about whether or not he should love her or not. And yeah, he had a lot of conviction. This was a man who needed to talk to some people, some random people. And you know what? I think we were more than happy to be his shoulder to, or I guess his ear to talk into.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't say shoulder to cry on, because it's not. He was definitely just looking for someone, for an unjudging, somebody to.
I think he just was considering some of life's deepest questions, and he hadn't really gotten there, but he was really trying to figure it out.
Yes, I have to say he definitely did pause several times to really think about what he was going to say, and I have to credit him with that, because a lot of people don't really pause to think about what they're going to say.
They just say anything that comes to them.
And I have to say, I fall victim to that myself a lot. I mean, how often do you see yourself, you're talking, and then all of a sudden you start rambling to fill the space, and the next thing you know, you sound like a royal idiot.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely a problem for me. But yeah, so needless to say, that was quite the interesting dinner time. I shouldn't even say dinner time. I mean, it was about 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So yeah, that made for an interesting afternoon. Now, I'm not too sure how to transition from this topic, because that is a pretty out there topic. We weren't expecting to add this in today. But I guess the next discussion I kind of want to roll us into is beds and people's sleeping situations.
This is where you're going to go. That was the best transition.
Yeah, this is the best I got. All right, people. All right, work with me here. I'm not a pro. All right. So, Olivia has made the comment that my bed is like sleeping on a hill. And truth be told, I have had the same bed, I guess, most of my life.
When you say most, you mean all besides the twin bed that's in your room?
Yes, which also used to be my bed when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I have kept my beds my entire life. The only other bed I had was while I was in the Army. And truth be told, my memory
it was a better bed than your
my memory
bed.
Might be jaded, or maybe I was just so sleep deprived and tired the whole time through my time in the Army that my barracks bed felt like heaven. But I tell you what, I have nothing but fond memories of my barracks bed for whatever reason. That thing was probably the most disgusting bed on the face of the earth, just for being an Army barracks bed, because God knows how long that thing had been there. But I tell you what, it was comfy as shit. And but let me go back to my bed. So I've had this bed for quite some time, and as you guys know, you're supposed to flip them every once in a while. And
I don't even think that's it. I think it's just you're supposed to get a new bed after.
Am I supposed to get a new bed? What is the...
I don't know. I bet there's a year. I bet after every 6 years.
Is this like a food thing? Is this are beds perishable?
Like a toothbrush. You're supposed to replace a toothbrush after so long.
Okay, I can see that. I wonder what the expiration date... I know what it is,
though. I think you're trying to save the earth, so you're not trying to discard anything before it's really gotten into
No, it has not. No, I think my lack of new bed is entirely lazy, just born out of laziness.
Yeah.
And you have motivated me. You've commented on this enough times that it has actually started to
The real
bother
motivation
me.
was when you slept on the left side last time, and you noticed that gently throughout the night you would end up
that I would
on the only level part of the
slowly
bed.
start drifting. So as much as I hate to admit, I would start rolling to the other side of the bed, But I don't know if that's because I wanted my side of the bed again, or if it was because I was on an incline.
It was because you were on Mount Everest.
All right, fair enough. It is a pretty deep dent in that bed.
You know what's interesting, though, is that, and I do this too, my bed right now is like in the middle of the room, so you can enter either side of the bed. But when my bed's pushed up against the wall, I always sleep on the outside of my bed, on the outside. And I would always wondered, like, why don't I sleep in the dead middle? Like, if I have the whole bed to myself, why don't I sleep in the middle?
No, that is a weird thing.
And then I wondered, are there people who sleep closer to the wall? And I bet it has something to do with your personality type, but I am very interested in that question.
I do know when I was in the Army, I used to sleep in the middle of the bed, but you're also working with a twin-sized bed, so, I mean...
There's only so far right and left.
You can only sleep on the side so much. You can barely fit two people on the thing.
Yeah.
So I guess my next follow-up question, that if we get anybody listening, if they'd love to write in or I don't know, maybe Olivia can enlighten me here. What is a good bed? So obviously I know nothing about beds. And every time I turn around, there's like, you got purple, you got, all right, I know purple.
Casper.
Yeah, Casper, that's another one.
Yeah.
You got Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah.
You got it's 8 million different brands. What is a good, how do I know if I'm going to pay too much on this thing?
Well, my go-to thing, where you can find the most reliable information is always Reddit.
Okay.
Because those are real people giving their real advice. Where you should not go, from what I've found, is the company's website. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, I think they hide the bad reviews within all their other reviews.
But I think everyone does that.
The other thing is that for some of the cheaper mattresses, I think they might be really great for that first month when you're writing your review, but I think they decline much faster, and you don't get that on an initial review, whereas if you go to a Reddit thread, they're going to be evaluating that bed over time, so you're going to really know how it's going to last you.
I can get with that.
That being said, I think my friend has a Tempur-Pedic bed, I told you, and I think her bed's the most comfortable thing in the world, so that's what I'd recommend. I got one of those in a box beds.
Okay. Yeah, so I love your bed. What brand is it?
Mine's Zinus or something, I think. I even got the bed frame from there, too.
So,
but it was a bargain. $200 for that mattress.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
Not gonna lie. But yeah, so needless to say, I have been looking at a new bed because I'm getting all kinds of shit from Olivia. That and the fact that my bed literally sounds like a trampoline, except with no bounce.
That's true.
Everyone knows that sound from when you were a kid. Yeah, that's it.
Need some DW40 and them sprays.
Cut it open, just start spraying it in there. Olivia, I think you got a couple of topics to hit on here. You got an update about our strawberry picking and our jam situation, which I must say tastes very good. I tried it.
Try some jam?
And
is it nice and sugary?
Maybe I'm just biased, or maybe I just love sugar. But I thought this was actually some very good jam. I would say it was definitely better than my typical Smucker's.
Thank you.
But Smucker's is also as generic as it gets.
It needed to be more jelly, though, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Just a little thicker would have been nice.
But that was also my excuse to eat a whole lot more.
Yeah, that's true.
Just really load up on that sugar.
Did you happen to bring any to your parents when you went over there?
I did. They have their jar.
Did you? Oh,
yes.
That's good. All right, I'm very proud of you. Anyways, I just wanted to clarify. The last episode, I was really giving the field we went to a little bit of shit about having to pay before we picked.
Poor Lyman Orchards.
And I just like to say in their defense that allegedly it's because of coronavirus, which maybe that's true. I don't know. But I guess maybe then they aren't touching your berries after you pick them. They're not usually they'll weigh them, they'll count the number of quarts you pick, so this way they just hand you your quarts and they don't gotta touch all your berries.
Okay.
I don't know if I really go for it, but I'd like to just...
Truth be told, whenever I've gone fruit picking, I've literally never noticed, so...
Paying before or after.
This is the first time I've ever had
I've never paid before I picked. Anyways. But yes, the jam came out very good. I would recommend to anybody out there looking to make jam that they're going to follow the Sure Gel recipe. I get 2 of those little boxes for every one recipe. It only calls for 1 box, but it never gels up enough. The other thing, though, is I think I'm supposed to put the whole berry in and just mash it, but I always feel inclined to dice them a little bit before I put it in, and I feel like...
Get smaller chunks?
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels better, but I think through doing that, I create more liquid and more juice, and that might be what's making it more liquidy.
That could be your problem.
Which is probably the situation, because otherwise I'm sure they would have changed their recipe by now. But anyways, so that's that. But something else kind of naturey I'd like to discuss. We haven't gone for a hike, even though we said this podcast was going to be about hiking, and it's episode 3, and we've taken all of 1 walk.
But no. So I have to say, we have been quite busy with other hobbies. And truth be told, we have been training hard for this upcoming weekend, where we are finally going to face off with Joe and Aya in our little tennis match here.
Yeah.
And hopefully the weather holds out. But I am banking on one of them blowing a hip out, truthfully.
That's good. I hope you're ready to drive them to the hospital.
Look, I'm more than willing to admit that while I lord over them that we totally kicked their asses in,
we're not going to win.
Tennis.
But we did get our cardio in today, so at least we'll have that going for us.
And we've been running. So we did go on a trail. We did run on a trail today. That was kind of woodsy.
Yeah.
So we have been supplementing our lack of hiking with plenty of running.
Yeah.
So not quite as naturey or relaxing.
How'd you feel about the run? How'd you like the route that I took us on?
I thought it was nice. Yeah, running. You got us out of downtown pretty quick.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of nice wooded trails around here in Manchester. So I would say it was pretty nice.
Pretty nice,
I'd give it like a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, better than running the roads the whole time, I feel like.
But to supplement ourselves, not to kick ourselves in the shins too much here, is we are definitely going to go for a hike this weekend, because Olivia has shown me that there is a beautiful hiking spot up in New York near Syracuse, where there's what is the name of the falls?
We're going back to that place again?
I would love to go back to those falls.
I don't even know what the name of the falls is. I'm going to have to check.
But there are some falls up by Syracuse. I'm assuming there's not a ton of them. But there is some very nice falls up there that we like to go hiking at. Well, I like to go hiking at.
Yeah.
It's about to be my new hobby.
So we'll get our hike in. So if you're from Central New York and you're looking for a hike spot, we'll give it to you next week.
FYI, it is a ideal spot to chuck your significant other off a cliff. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, at least it won't be icy this time, wasn't it? Exactly. Icy when we went before. It might be much more pleasurable.
We're not going to be frozen when we get out there.
I forgot about that.
There was ice.
I thought I was going to slip the whole entire time.
Yeah, no, that was some dangerous hiking because you got to hike through a waterfall or behind it, and then up some really wet stones. An ideal spot to break your own neck and fall off a cliff, or to push somebody else off. Hint, hint, Olivia.
Thank you.
Trying to get rid of you already.
Anyways, I went on a little hike-a-rooney without Frankie this week to Riverfront Park in Glastonbury, and there's a couple things I'd like to discuss about this. Number one, there was a lot more trash there than there has been in the future, and I was only surprised because Glastonbury's... In the past, did I say in the future?
You said in the future. What are you, time traveling now?
Yeah, maybe. But I was just surprised because Glastonbury is a pretty, ritzy place for people to be leaving their litter everywhere.
Well, Glastonbury is and it isn't. Glastonbury is a weird town of, it's ritzy in the sense of the people going to Glastonbury have a lot of money because the surrounding towns have cash. But Glastonbury is a little too close to Hartford, and it's more of an industrial area where there's a lot of warehouses and a lot of businesses in the area, which is really cool because there's a lot to do out there, but there's a lot of industrial parks and a lot of stuff going on, so it would make sense to me that it could be messy.
Okay, so I was surprised by the amount of litter. Second, I usually, they have a graveled path you can walk on, but I usually cut off a little early and go exploring in the woods. But this time I decided I'd take the gravel path all the way just to know where it went for the future. And I ended up leading towards the sewage plant, which was the least anticlimactic thing. I was
a sewage plant?
It smelled so bad. And
what'd you expect?
When you look over it, I've never seen a sewage plant before, but
huffing shit fumes.
What I imagine it to look like is this. You know what the thing is? The trail is called the Riverfront Trail. You can't see the river anywhere from this trail.
Yeah,
all you can see is the sewage trail. Anyway, so then I ended up backing up and going back to my off-roading trail, which was the better strategy for sure. But I hadn't been since fall, and everything was very, grown in, and there was a lot of foliage compared to the last time I went. And I remember last time when I went, I found this little beach area. Yeah.
Hold up. Foliage? You mean foliage?
Foliage.
No, foliage.
Foliage.
Foil.
It's like foil,
Would
like
you
green leaves.
Would you tin foiling everything?
Maybe. Are
Yeah,
you?
was that part of the garbage?
There's lots of foliage out there.
Foliage.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I saw the little beach that I got to, but since there was so many trees now in bloom, it was a lot harder to get down to. So I managed to do it anyways. I don't know. It was literally so much of a harder jaunt than I remembered. If you hear that sound, that's the sound
That
of
is
wine
not
being
somebody
poured
peeing.
into my glass.
That did sound a little disturbing. Yes, we are in fact drinking some wine while we do this.
So anyways, I found my nice little spot on the beach. I watched some of the boats go by, some of the jet skis. I journaled, and then I was just about to do a little yoga, right? So now I've taken off my sneakers, I've taken off my socks, my yoga bag's over on one side of the beach, which has got my wall inside of it. My phone's a little bit far away from my yoga mat. And I keep hearing like this noise in the water, which I presume is just a fish jumping out. You know, it's kind of like that sunset time where, I don't know, I presume it's good for fishes to catch flies. And then once I get up to go, start my sun salutations, I see something moving towards me, and I think it must be like a stick or something, because like every time anything's ever come near you in the water and you freak yourself up, it always ends up being a stick. And then I realize it is indeed not a stick. It is this big, probably 2 foot long water creature floating in the top, doing a little puppy paddle. And it's floating near me, and then it kind of stops and it looks at me. Now at this moment, all I can think of is I just don't get along with nature. This is why I don't go outside and do things, because creatures are going to attack me. So
yeah, wild rabid beavers are going to come, I don't even want to say running, but waddling, fat tail and all out of the woods.
I didn't know it could have been the Loch Ness Monster for all I knew. So I've concluded it's either a muskrat or a beaver, but none of them seem preferential. And I'm thinking, should I run? Now, if I run, I suppose if I ran without collecting all of my stuff, maybe I could have outrun it. But I got to climb over and under these trees. But if I want to collect all of my stuff and then run, there's no way, because I need to put on my sneakers. I need to roll up my yoga
You'd have been
bag.
done.
That beaver would have had me for dinner.
You would have been the punchline of every bad sci-fi movie ever. You ever just watch the Sci-Fi Channel and they have Sharknado. All right, perfect. Here we go. Sharknado, where people are just standing around, or better yet, like Deep Blue. Was it?
Don't ask me.
Oh God, Deep Blue Sea, I think it was, where Samuel L. Jackson gets eaten by a shark. All right, freaking hilarious scene. Dude's just standing there, minding his own business, giving a heroic speech. Freaking giant man-eating shark eats his ass in front of the whole group, and they're like, well, fuck whatever the hell he was saying, because, well, no way. And excuse my language, but I don't think we're going to be PG. Oh, yeah, we are already using other kinds of
How did this
stuff.
relate to my story? What did you
relate
interrupt
to your story, because you would have been Samuel L. Jackson to that beaver.
But it was just the beaver.
He would have dragged your ass into the
Anywho.
water. You didn't have a chance.
So I ended up playing dead. I ended up playing dead and just standing there silently. And luckily he swam away. But the minute he was gone, I threw on my sneakers without any sock. In fact, one sock's still on the beach because I realized I only got one of them. I didn't roll up my yoga mat. I folded it in half. I grabbed my yoga mat. I grabbed my wallet, and I climbed up that hill at record speed compared to how I climbed down.
You are just littering the freaking woods. Wonderful.
I had to get out of there.
All right, so you got attacked by a Loch Ness monster, we will call it.
Could have, yeah.
A furry Loch
potential was there.
Yeah, potentially attacked by a furry Loch Ness monster. He for sure checked you out, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it sounds like you had a nice day out at the beach. So
it was really
cool.
great prior to that moment, yeah.
So, I guess the next thing we got is another one of our silly hobbies here that we have also accumulated to top off our exercise and the hiking and the tennis.
We're the lamest couple ever. No one's going to listen to this podcast. They hate us already.
It's sad. So we're interested in also trying to do a bit of a book club. Nothing too drastic, a once-a-month thing. And we decided we would start with a Chuck Palahniuk is his last name. He was the writer of Fight Club. Everybody knows Fight Club, so you'll know who this guy is. He made another book called Damned, which is essentially the what is the movie where they are all in detention?
Oh, Breakfast Club?
Yes, it is a breakfast club in hell, which is probably the most apt description I can possibly think of.
Yeah, that is a pretty good description.
It's the breakfast club in hell. So we have started the book already. We have not gotten far. We're only about 50 pages.
Is that true?
Yeah, we're about 50 or 60
about
pages.
100.
Well, it's not even a long book, and it is a relatively cheap book. I think you can pick it up for about $12.
I don't really love it so far, so I wouldn't recommend it.
I like it.
But we'll give you a full review.
I am sort of biased, though, because I think Chuck Palahniuk here, or Paula something. I can't pronounce his name.
Nobody here knows.
Yeah. No, he's got a wonky last name. There's vowels in there that don't belong. But yeah, we're next episode will be our 1 month and our 4th episode, and we think we'll be done by then. And we'll try and go for our first review.
We think we'll be done. He means Frankie
I
thinks we'll be
I
done.
think we'll be done, even if I got to drag you kicking and screaming through this book. All right.
All right.
The last thing I have to talk about, as we said, we would end our segments with the news. And this is on a downturn, I have to say. I'm also going to go into one of my nerdy things.
It's not this dramatic.
For any of it is very
Out of all
dramatic.
the things in the world that you're going to say this is the downturn?
This is the downturn.
Okay.
All right, this was the big downer for my day.
All right, I'm ready.
So if any of you are Lord of the Rings fans out there, specifically of I would say the original trilogy, but the War of the Ring segment, not the Hobbit, though he does play in the Hobbit as well. If you were a fan of The Fifth Element, he played in that as well. But Ian Holm has passed away at the age of 88 today, June 19th. Also, Juneteenth.
You shouldn't say the date today because the episode's not going to go up till Tuesday.
Yeah, it is going to be a few days.
It's classic.
But regardless, this gentleman has passed, and he was an outstanding actor, and I have to say we have lost a very good actor to the world. And I think this means you guys should go out there and watch some Lord of the Rings.
I do not support that. That is not at all what his death means.
I think you should watch Lord of the Rings because Olivia is not a fan, all right?
I wouldn't even say I'm not a fan.
I've
never even watched it.
Yeah, exactly. You're an anti-fan. You don't even understand how good his acting was. This gentleman really brought the series together, right? And no one will ever forget, in the Fellowship of the Ring when he doesn't want to give the ring up, and he's got Gandalf yelling at him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You don't remember nothing. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So that is, I didn't really look otherwise in the news. As you know, the Black Lives Matter protests are still going on. COVID-19 is still rampaging. The world is in turmoil, and I must say the end days are upon us.
I actually sometimes wonder if the end days are upon us.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. For those of you who don't pay attention, Brazil has now caught up to America in COVID-19
They
cases.
haven't caught up to America.
Well, they're right behind us.
That's false news. We have over 2 million cases, and they just broke 1 million, so...
They'll
Meanwhile, China's reporting that they have 84,000, to which I say, give me a break.
Oh, man. Other than that, I don't think the news has really had anything that's kind of upset me other than the generic, the news outlets trying to incite
I've gotten back
everybody.
on Instagram, so I've been looking at the news much less.
I still do not have an Instagram. And,
I know, you're so cool.
The only other nerdy thing I have to talk about this week, though.
More?
Yes,
your time's up.
My time is not up. I have a couple of minutes. So, the last thing I want to bring up is I was reading a news article about Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed from September, I believe, 17th.
Nobody cares. Is this your
care.
Star Wars nonsense?
No, it's Cyberpunk, an entirely different genre.
Who's Cyberpunk?
I will get into it with you another time.
Okay.
But Cyberpunk is going to be a fantastic game, but there are rumors they have delayed the game in order to be able to release it on PS5. The only other video game related thing I have to go over is those of you who love a good masterpiece. The Last of Us 2 is coming out soon. The reviews are already out there, and everybody's giving it a 10 out of 10, just like the first one, which was literally a masterpiece of PS3. It's being released for PS4 as the crowning jewel before the PS4 lineage ends and PS5 starts up. But I think we're going to kick that off really well. We're going to have the PS4 ending with The Last of Us 2. Yeah, all right, get out of here. And nobody cares about your doctor stuff, all right? We're all about that nerd life over here, all right? So
that's true. Do you think I should be bringing a little more doctor to this if you're going to be bringing much dork?
I think you should be bringing some interesting related
maybe we should
stuff.
each have a doctor and a dork segment to this podcast.
I would be okay with that.
I'll do that next time.
But yeah, so thank you for your time this week, guys. And we look forward to getting some news from you. I believe we're going to end up trying to start a YouTube account with this. We're going to run a couple minutes over, but that's fine. But yeah, we still... Olivia, you want to tell them how they reach us?
Yep, you can email us at doctoranddork@gmail.com, and that's all spelt out, including the and. And then we're also on Instagram at doctoranddork. We've got 2 posts up so far, so feel free to go check them out. You can see Frank and I picking some strawberries.
Quite the extensive Instagram we have. Yeah. Whopping 2 posts.
Well, we're going to have a 3rd post up when we release this one. If only we had a picture of that man at the park, I feel like that would have
We should have taken a photo with him.
I have a picture of my ice cream. We can
well, we can take a photo of the falls this weekend and add that. That'd be cool.
Well, we'll have to do that for episode 4 because we didn't talk about the falls review. Anyways, anything else you need to add to this?
No. Stay safe out there, guys. And if you don't listen to us before July 4th, have a great July 4th. And we will catch you on the flip side. All right. Talk to you later, guys.
Bye, everyone.